Hi guys, it's Ariana. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to be reading some more scary stories. So as per usual, I have my wicked candle in here. I have my hot chocolate candle in here that I'm going to light and set the cozy mood. And I have a bunch of stories from Reddit that I'm really excited to read. And then I have a couple emails that I'm going to get to pretty soon. I don't know if I'll get to them in this video, but I'm going to get to them right away. But I have a bunch from Reddit that I'm really excited to read, and let's just jump on into the spooky stories. So this one's from the paranormal section, and it's from the Reddit author Jazzy Moo 889, and it's titled "My Mom and I Traveled Back in Time." This story takes place about 5 years ago. Both me and my mom remember it to this day. My mom was picking me up from high school at the time, and our days ended around 2:30. And we were driving into town, which was about 10 to 12 minutes away from the school. On the way into town, you have to cross over this little wooden bridge that goes over a small river. Keep in mind, there is only one bridge on this road with sugarcane fields and gullies on both sides of the road before and after the bridge. I remember passing over the bridge before looking back at the clock where it read 2:46 p.m. We were talking about a bullying situation that happened at school that day, and about 2 minutes after we crossed the bridge, she said something on the lines of, "So your teacher dealt with the situation." And as I was about to respond, the tires lost grip on the road and we spun out with tires skidding and everything. The car behind us started honking their horn and we screamed because we thought we were headed front first into a gully next to the sugarcane. Then all of a sudden, we just weren't. We were back on the road, but it looked and felt super unfamiliar to us. As we were trying to get our bearings, with her still driving, but a lot slower, we both froze as we saw the bridge that we just passed a couple minutes prior, about 200 meters on the road in front of us. I started screaming again and freaking out before looking at the time that read 2:45 p.m. I screamed even louder and I was super scared. My mom pulled over and started to explain to me that it was just a glitch in the matrix and that this happened to her before. I just remember the feeling I had afterwards. This feeling like everything was off and I didn't feel right. Like I was somewhere I wasn't meant to be. And even to this day, I haven't been able to shake that feeling. I managed to calm down, but no one I've told believes me. To this day, everyone just thinks it's a silly story. But we both remember the details so vividly. The feeling of not belonging has somewhat eased and I can ignore it now, but it's still an itch in the back of my head. It's very hard to explain. So that was my introduction to the glitches in the Matrix, paranormal activity, which led me down a rabbit hole of Mandela effects, ghost stories, and more glitches in the Matrix, to actually watching the Matrix series. I've had other really weird events happen to me in my life since, but nothing as prominent as that one. So that's all they said. It's just, they went back in time by a minute, which is really, really weird. And that's really hard to explain, and I don't have an answer for you. It's really fucking creepy, and I don't know how I would feel if that happened. That's terrifying. But thank you so much for allowing me to read that story, and let's move on to the next one. So this one's from the Spoopy Cjades section, and it's from the Reddit author Haunt_Gurus, and it's titled Creepy Haunted Museum Encounter. My husband and I visited this haunted museum in Vegas. We upgraded to the RIP tickets. I think they mean VIP tickets, but maybe it's RIP because it's a haunted house. I don't know. The VIP tickets, and we were the only ones in our tour group that upgraded. So part of the upgrade experience is that you get to go down to the basement. I was excited to go down, but nervous that it was just my husband and I going. I started down the stairs, followed closely by my husband, and got to the first doorway to this little hallway, and I immediately was overwhelmed with an uneasy, negative feeling. Everything in my body told me to turn around and run back up the stairs. I ignored it, and I started down the little hallway to the room with the pentagram on the floor. The uneasy feeling kept getting worse and worse, and I felt like something was watching me. I got to the doorway of the room with the pentagram, and I just had this gut feeling to turn around and run. I turned around and I looked at my husband to tell him I wanted to go back upstairs, and when I went to look at him, I saw standing right behind him a figure dressed in a hooded black cloak. I know my eyes weren't playing tricks on me because the figure was as clear and as solid as I was looking at my husband. I also have seen many spirits in my life to know that this was one. I closed my eyes and I ran back down the hallway and up the stairs. I returned to the museum a couple months later and went back down to the basement, but we didn't have an uneasy feeling, and I didn't experience anything like that again. So it was just a one-off encounter at this museum, but they went back months later and they didn't have that experience. So either that spirit has left or I don't know, but that's really cool. So thank you so much for allowing me to read your story. That was really freaking creepy. And I would have had the same experience, I would have had the same reaction. I would have ran away, but I am a big chicken. So The next one is again from the Spoopy Cjades section, and it's from the Reddit author FF4QUA, so I think it's just like an auto-generated one, unless it's not, I don't know. And this one's titled, "A Ghost Chased Me Out of My Family's Manor in the Middle of the Night." I'm sorry for some spelling errors or sentences. English is not my first language. Hope you enjoy my story. When I was 16 years old, I'm now 20, me and my family decided to buy a bigger house. Because my mom was pregnant at the time and did not like the house we lived in, the new house that we decided to buy was big. It had 18 rooms, a dance studio, a home cinema, a water fountain inside the house, and also a big backyard that my mom always wanted. Of course, we moved in right away and I got to choose my bedroom for the first time. I got to choose from 2 bedrooms. They were both bigger than my last bedroom, of course. One bedroom had a built-in closet area, just like a walk-in, but not quite the same. The other bedroom had a balcony and a huge mirror, floor to ceiling, and it was 3 meters wide. The mirror was on the left side of the wall when you walk into the bedroom. The mirror had this royal look to it. I mean, the mirror sides were gold and it looked really expensive. I asked my mom if I could sleep in that room with the balcony and the huge mirror. My mom was confused about why there would be a huge mirror just laying there in one of the bedrooms. Did the previous owners leave it by accident, or they just didn't want it anymore? My mom asked the broker why there was a mirror in one of the rooms, and the broker just said that they didn't want to take the mirror with them, and the mirror had been in the house for a long time, because when they moved in, the mirror was already there. We didn't think anything of it and let the mirror stay in my room. Also, the house was built in 1908 and was remodeled 3 times because of earthquakes, and the mirror stayed in the exact same spot every single time and didn't break once. The first night in the new house was terrifying. I think it was around midnight when this happened. I was laying in bed scrolling through Facebook when I heard whispers coming from downstairs. So I got up and I decided to check it out. First, I tried to listen with my ear against the door, but I couldn't make out what they were saying. So I opened my door, and as soon as I did, the whispers stopped. I thought, okay, that's weird, and closed the door. But as I closed it, I heard them again. The whispers were now louder. I opened the door again, and the same thing. They stopped. I closed the door and I jumped. Now I could hear them loud and clear because they were standing right behind my door, and they whispered, "Get out, get out, get out," repeatedly. I ran and jumped in my bed, covering myself with the bed sheets, and forced myself to fall asleep. In the morning, I told my mom what had happened, but she believed that I just had a nightmare. I was pissed, but I thought my mom was right. Maybe it was just a dream, because I have always had trouble sleeping, and when I do sleep, I usually have bad dreams. After that, some minor things kept happening, like doors opening on their own, whispers, footsteps, that eerie feeling like someone is watching you, and shadows appearing on the windows. But things started to escalate as my mom gave birth to my baby brother. One night, I was asleep in my bed when I heard my brother crying. I stood up and I started to go to my brother's bedroom. Our rooms are right next to each other. I opened my door and I saw a figure go into my brother's bedroom. Of course, I thought that it was just my mom and went back to my room. I sat on the bed and waited until my little brother was not crying anymore so I could try to fall back asleep. But that didn't happen. My brother continued to cry. So I opened my door and entered my brother's room. I almost shit my pants when I saw a lady, not my mom, standing and looking down at my brother, singing him a song. It kind of sounded like she was speaking in a different language. The words were more aggressive sounding. So I ran to my parents' room screaming that there was a lady in my brother's bedroom. My dad ran into my brother's room with my mom right behind him. When they entered the room, there was no one there, and my brother wasn't even crying anymore. My mom and dad were mad that I woke them up because of some kind of stupid prank, but I swear there was a person in there with my brother singing. 2 years passed and nothing big or scary happened anymore. Even when something did happen, we didn't pay any attention to it. It wasn't until I turned 18, we had also got 2 Siberian Huskies in our household just so I could feel safer when I was home alone. But the home alone with the dogs thing didn't really pan out because my mom wanted to take the dogs everywhere she went. So one summertime, I was home alone for 3 months, just because my parents and my brother would usually spend the whole summer at our summer house near the sea. I didn't like the location because the internet connection was, and it still is, pretty bad. So I just stayed home alone watching movies, occasionally inviting friends over, etc. One night I was curious and I wanted to know who had lived in our house before us, so I started Googling. What I found was a really old picture in 1912 of a family of 3 children, twin boys, that looked like they were about 12 years old, and a very strange looking girl who was around my age. They also had a maid and a gardener, I guess because the woman had a uniform on and because the gardener was holding a shovel in the picture. I got the feeling like something was really wrong with this family. They all seemed really angry and no one smiled in the picture, and the girl wouldn't even show her face. She was looking down at the ground, hair covering her face. That creeped me out, so I closed my laptop and started listening to music on my phone. It wasn't until about 3 a.m. that I decided that I should try to sleep. As I was laying down, still thinking about the weird girl in the picture, I heard a knock. It sounded like someone was knocking on glass, but it was impossible because my room was on the 3rd floor. Then I heard it again, and I realized it wasn't coming from the window. It was coming from the mirror. From the huge mirror in my room. I looked up and I saw the exact girl from the picture that I saw earlier knocking from inside the mirror, looking at me and knocking. It looked like she was asking to come inside. I sprinted out of the room, and while I was running down the stairs, I heard the mirror glass break and someone running after me because I heard giggling while someone was running. I ran to my friend's house only wearing underwear and a t-shirt. I was running for a while because my friend lives about 4 kilometers from me. I pounded on his door and his mom opened the door, scared out of her mind, seeing me crying and almost half naked. She invited me inside, and as I entered, I left blood footprints on the floor because the soles of my feet were bleeding from all the running. My friend called the police while his mom was calming me down. The police didn't find anyone and told me that it was safe for me to return home. A police car drove me back. It looked like the mirror glass had come off of the frame and fell on the floor. I cleaned up the broken glass and went to sleep in my parents' bedroom. My parents came home the next day, and after that incident, we removed the mirror frame from my room and replaced it with a TV. But ever since that terrifying encounter, I've had sleeping problems and often don't sleep in my room or feel comfortable staying there for long periods of time. My mom doesn't want to move, so I have to stay there until I finish college or find my own place to stay. Small things still happen, footsteps, doors opening and closing, whispers, and shadows on the windows, but nothing so extreme. Once my mom called me saying that my baby Trevor was talking with someone in my room, staring at the black TV screen. When my mom asked who he was talking to, he said Eula. I didn't think anything of it because I didn't want to know what was happening in that house ever again. I just hope it's someone nice and does not mean to harm anyone, especially my baby brother. I still have some scary experiences that have happened ever since that day, and also some of my friends also have experienced stuff in that house as well that I'd gladly write out if you guys want me to. But for now, that's it. Hope you enjoyed. So I messaged them and I asked them if they could send me more of their scary stories. They haven't yet, but I'm really interested to see an update because that's absolutely terrifying. I don't know what I would do if there was like another person in a mirror looking back at me and knocking. That's fucking terrifying. I hate that so much. Oh my God. The last story that I'm gonna read is from Instagram. One of my followers messaged me a couple of days ago and I want to read their story because I have been sitting on it and I haven't actually read it yet. So this is from Instagram and they said, "Hey, I followed you my personal Instagram page and have since deactivated it. Just needed a break for mental health. Anyway, I've meant to send you stories a few times, but I kept forgetting, and I have a little bit of downtime while watching one of your videos and decided to send you one now." Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm so glad you guys watch my videos. I love it. She said, "My name is Haley, and I've had paranormal experiences my entire life. 2 of my lifelong friends and I were talking about them the other day, and they both said they've only ever experienced weird things when they're with me. And when I told one of my other friends, they said that she said, honestly, same. I didn't believe in ghosts until meeting you. I'm 29 and it's become so common in my life, but it's still something that will scare me every now and again. I'm bouncing between 2 stories I want to share, but since this message is already so long, I'll send you the most recent things that literally happened last night and this morning, and then I can send you another message later. We got a pit bull puppy a few weeks ago, and she's the cutest thing. She loves to be held like a kid, meaning I pick her up by her armpits, then put her arms over my shoulders, and she'll just rest her head on my shoulder, and she will literally fall asleep. So last night, around 1, she was crying in her crate, so I let her out, gave her some water, let her run around a bit, then picked her up to put her back to sleep. As I was walking around with her, soothing her and petting her, she was lolling off when all of a sudden, I heard someone scuffling their feet down the hallway, and I could feel the energy of someone else coming. I assumed it was my husband, and my dog jerked her head up and looked down the hallway and started growling. I looked down there, but no one was there, and all the hair on my arms stood up. I put her back in her crate and I called my husband and I made him come into the living room so I didn't have to walk back alone. That brings us to this morning. My daughter was sick and I'm staying home with her today, and while she was asleep in her bedroom, I was in the living room with the puppy. We keep the doors closed for our rooms so our puppy doesn't go into them, and I heard my daughter's door open and her little feet running down the hallway. Our puppy got super excited and started running down the hallway to greet her, and I could hear both of them running, when all of a sudden, our puppy come running back down the hallway alone and ran up to me and sat on my feet while he just listened to the running footsteps, and they just stopped at the end of the hallway and my daughter wasn't there. I went to check and she was still asleep in her bed, but her door was now open. I don't have much of an explanation for either of those, but since the dog reacted the way that she did, I know I'm not hearing or imagining things. Thank you for reading this, and let me know if you'd like me to send more stories. So you can definitely send me more stories. Those are really creepy, and I don't know what I would do if I heard like little kids running down the hallway and then like nothing appeared. That would fucking terrify me. I'm a big chicken though when it comes to most things that involve paranormal, ghosts, demons, all of that. Any just like hearing noises in your house, I'm a big chicken. Even just like house settling noises, I can't do it. I get so scared so quickly. But thank you so much for sending me your story. You can definitely send me more. I would love to hear more of the crazy paranormal experiences you guys have in your homes. If you guys have any paranormal stories that you want to send me, you can send me an email or you guys can message me directly on Instagram. If you guys have any Let's Not Meet stories or just like creepy encounters in general that you want me to read on the channel, please just send me a message and I will definitely read them. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below for more content like this, and I will see you guys at the next video. Bye!